Before we dive into the 12th episode of Super Ninja Steel, I feel like I should apologize for how down I was at the end of the last review. Usually when I review different types of content, be they movie reviews, season reviews, or your typical episode reviews, I always try to keep an optimistic viewpoint. Even if the content is bad, like most of this season has proven to be, I always try to end on a high note in the hope that things will improve. Unfortunately, I don't think that came across last time because I was genuinely disheartened with how the Galactic Ninja arc ended, so much so that the thought of reviewing the rest of this season rubbed me the wrong way. My biggest fear when talking about this show is that I'll stop having new things to say and end up repeating myself, which is something I've been trying to work on, especially with this season. But it's getting harder to do that when the show itself is getting more generic with each passing week. I mean, what happened to monsters playing to a live crowd? Why hasn't Preston had a magic show at all this season? And when was the last time Mick reminded us that he's a shapeshifter? My point is, I don't want my reviews to become as repetitive and throwaway as this show has, so Nauticon, if you're still listening, I wish Super Ninja Steel would give me something new to talk about. Oh, what am I doing? I should be reviewing the episode instead of talking to a fictional genie. Whatever, let's move on. This is episode 12, Fan Frenzy. The episode opens with a Talon agent coming to the school and asking if Lee Vaden would like to be the new spokesperson for the Double Danger Chili Burger, but he declines because he's focused on other things right now. After the Talon agent leaves, a guy named Chaz shows up telling Lee Vaden that he's a big fan, who actually wrote to the country singer about one of his songs, saying it always calms him down. Chaz goes on to say that Lee Vaden replied to the letter, offering for the two to hang out sometime, but the Gold Ranger reveals that the reply was actually from his manager. Trying to lift the fan spirit, Lee Vaden says they can still hang out together before we get to the ship where the next contestant of Galaxy Warriors takes the stage. This is Dreadwolf, who demonstrates his ability to turn people into werewolves by sticking them with claws, adding that he plans to do just that to one of the Rangers so they'll take out the rest of the team. We cut back to the Talon agent, who's looking for someone to replace Lee Vaden as spokesperson, and when she sees Victor eating a burger outside, she decides the jock is her guy. As Victor goes to talk with the agent, Calvin and Mick pull up, with the mechanic excited to be shopping at a hardware store. As the mentor is inside the shop, Calvin notices the buzz cam, but rather than hide, he immediately calls the other Rangers in full view of the lens. The rest of the team heads out to see what's going on, but Lee Vaden stopped by Chaz, who wants a selfie with him. The singer takes the photo before rushing off with the others, leaving Chaz dejected since he wasn't able to give Lee Vaden his email address. Okay. The Rangers make it on the scene just as Dreadwolf shows up, so they morph into action to take on the threat. Mick comes back from shopping, only to find the Rangers locked in combat, with Lee Vaden going toe-to-toe with Dreadwolf. The monster soon sends claws at Lee Vaden in hopes of turning him into a werewolf, but when the Gold Ranger dodges the attack, he unknowingly allows Mick to be struck instead. Dreadwolf then leaves, telling the Rangers that he'll be back when they least expect it, but the team doesn't celebrate long as they see Mick down in the distance. The mechanic assures the Rangers that he's fine, before Preston reminds everyone that they have to get to shop class, and when they get back to school, Chaz shows Lee Vaden how he's dressed up like him. Once Chaz leaves, Lee Vaden comments how the guy's starting to annoy him, but Brody says that he's just a fan before Calvin realizes Mick's late for class. The Rangers start to worry just as Mick shows up, only to reveal that he's been completely wolfified, so the team rushes to get Mick to the hideout before anyone sees. As Lee Vaden joins the others, he's again stopped by Chaz, who says that he told his friends that the country singer would come to the plaza with him and sign some things, which angers the Gold Ranger because he never agreed to that. Justifiably, Lee Vaden goes off on Chaz, telling the fan that they're not friends, and that he's not going to the plaza before saying he needs some space as he heads to the hideout.
I look like a cross between a troll and a yeti.
Well, Kelson, you have played both those creatures before, so this is hardly that weird. As the Rangers examine Mick, he starts to become more feral, but Redbot scans the mechanic, finding the claw in his head, so the teens quickly remove it. Once the Rangers realize that Dreadwolf was trying to turn one of them into a werewolf, we cut to the plaza, where Victor's rehearsing for a commercial, and Chaz tells his friends that Levi Weston isn't coming. Being true friends, the crowd disperses, thinking Chaz lied to them about being friends with the singer, before we see Dreadwolf watching from above, believing Chaz to be the Gold Ranger. As Dreadwolf tries to hit Chaz with a claw, he also hits Victor by mistake, but his actions do alert the Rangers of what's going on, with Lee Vaden specifically worried about Chaz. While the Rangers head out to deal with the monster, Victor goes straight to the commercial shoot, and during filming, the jock transforms into a werewolf before devouring all the burgers on set. Back with the Rangers, they make it to the plaza, where they find Chaz in wolf form, and as Dreadwolf tries to gloat over his success, he realizes that he cursed the wrong cowboy hat-wearing teen. Dreadwolf then sicks Chaz on the Rangers so he can get more claws, but Lee Vaden tells the others to take out Dreadwolf while he helps Chaz. Lee Vaden first apologizes to Chaz, saying this never would have happened if he'd have gone with the fan to the plaza in the first place, completely forgetting that the whole reason Dreadwolf attacked the plaza was because he thought the Gold Ranger was there. Eventually, Lee Vaden calms Chaz down by singing the song the fan mentioned earlier, and after the claw's removed, the singer tells the fan that they'll talk later before he gets a call from Mick. The mechanic tells Lee Vaden that according to the Prism, he can now use the Lionfire armor, so the Gold Ranger goes off to help the team, telling Brody he can use the Battleizer. Once Lee Vaden powers up, he easily takes out Dreadwolf, and even when the monster's gigantified, the Rangers call on the Megathrone to finish the monster off. After the fight, Lee Vaden has his talk with Chaz.
Can I have a word, Chaz? Yeah, sure. Hey, Chaz. I just wanted to apologize for what I said at school. I shouldn't have snapped at you like that. It's really not me.
Don't worry about it. I know it can be a bit much sometimes.
Well, I'm proud to have you as a fan. And as a friend.
Wait, did Lee Vaden just take all the blame for justifiably telling the fan to back off? Well, that's something new to talk about, I guess. Lee Vaden ends up going to Chaz's quote-unquote friends and saying he wants to make music together before we cut to Monty leading Victor into a classroom with a burger. As Victor eats the burger, Monty removes the claw that he somehow knew was there, and when the jock turns back to normal, the talent agent shows up saying she wants to take the burger campaign on the road with Victor as the wolf. Monty mentions that Victor can't change into a wolf anymore, and the episode ends with the talent agent ripping up the contract before leaving Victor to howl in despair. This episode is pretty bad. Granted, it doesn't have the same problems that past episodes have had, but that doesn't mean it hits everything out of the park. One issue that is similar from the last episode is that the ending joke with Victor and Monty not only isn't funny, but I don't even think it counts as a joke. I've made peace with the fact that the comedy associated with these two is intended for a younger audience, which makes the ending bits very hit or miss for me, but even at their worst, they still sounded like jokes. Victor and Monty get chased by a mannequin riding a hoverboard. Victor and Monty accidentally get mailed to Africa. Heck, even the fart jokes that I hate have a decent punchline despite being juvenile. Here, though, the ending joke is Agent wants Victor to be a famous werewolf, but he can't turn into a werewolf anymore. LOL? Between this and the last episode, the writers seem to think that the audience will laugh just because Victor and Monty are miserable, forgetting that there needs to be an actual joke for the comedy to work. I really hope this trend doesn't continue for the rest of the season, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Another problem this episode has is that it takes elements from previous episodes and basically copy and paste them here. I mean, we've got a scene of the Rangers running off and leaving a side character to feel sad. There's a point where a Ranger apologizes, saying this never would have happened if blank. Even the villain plot is almost exactly the same as the previous episode, just with cursed claws instead of love arrows. However, I said earlier that this episode doesn't have the same problem as others, and that's because the moral this time is portrayed well. It's just unfortunate that the moral isn't very good and is in fact very damaging to the target audience. This episode basically says that celebrities should always cater to their fans no matter what, even if said fan is a burden. I know that Power Rangers as a franchise has always had a great relationship with their fans, but it's important to understand that when you're interacting with a celebrity, there are certain lines you do not cross. There have been countless examples throughout history of crazy fans going too far and even putting their idols in danger, so much so that it's become something of a trope in pop culture. While Chaz isn't necessarily portrayed as a crazed superfan, he still inconveniences Lee Vaden when he's busy, and even goes as far as telling people that the singer would sign stuff for them behind his back. It doesn't help that Chaz refers to Lee Vaden and the crowd as his friends, even though the group doesn't seem to like him very much, and as Lee Vaden says, Chaz really doesn't know the country singer on a personal level. The worst part is that when we get to the end, the episode still wants you to sympathize with Chaz, and in fact rewards him for basically tricking Lee Vaden into a fan signing for people that were quick to call the guy a liar. I wouldn't have had an issue if they had both had a conversation about how a fan should interact with a celebrity, but because Lee Vaden says he's sorry for justifiably telling the guy to back off, this show is pretty much teaching kids that they shouldn't respect the personal space of their idols, and that is potentially dangerous for all parties involved. Overall, this might be the worst episode of this show just based on principle. Sure, it's not as poorly written or even as badly put together as previous episodes, but at the same time, it teaches a moral so damaging to the kids that are watching. This show should not be telling kids that they are entitled to certain privileges when interacting with a celebrity, especially when said celebrity is having their personal space violated. Not only do I not recommend this episode, but I'd even say you should avoid this one like the plague. I'll give the gin this. At least I had something new to talk about with this episode. I've got one wish left. Let's hope I don't have to use it. I'm Nick, aka IronBet1993, and may the power protect you. Please subscribe for reviews of Ninja Steel, Super Ninja Steel. Also check out Time to Charge reviews too, episode reviews. Also there's Ninja Go, and I've got a Patreon. Go! Please subscribe.